It is an honor and a privilege to be here with you, Dina. Thank you. Meeting you has definitely changed my life for the better, and I'm very grateful for that.
I love what you're doing. I love the platform. I'm a fan of your social media, and I think you're doing really important work around many things, right? I mean, around domestic abuse, divorce, life changes, and even touching on stories of recovery.
But thank you, Dana. I think you do an amazing job from what I've seen, and I've watched a few of your podcasts, and I've done a lot of podcasts and that, and you let people just talk. It flows out of them.
Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dina Court, and this is the Life Changes Channel podcast. I'm bringing a guest back today, Margaret Dennis, a women's empowerment and grief coach. She has some incredible insight and guidance to offer that can help you as a parent to help your children through a divorce or a separation and through some tricky times that you will have to face, some difficult conversations. And it's tough for you to get through, but it's also an extra element when you're trying to help your children through this in a healthy way. And that's why we're here with just a quick little bit of guidance for you and some insights from Margaret. Let's meet her now.
Margaret is back. I am so pleased because today we're going to offer you a quick tip around helping your kids through divorce. So parents, this is for you. And I'm going to be brave here and just throw Margaret in on saying that this is for kids of any age, even your adult kids, but especially we're thinking more towards your younger ones. How do you navigate this divorce as a parent? So welcome back, Margaret.
Oh, thank you so much for having me back. So yeah, navigating divorce is hard enough on your own. There's so much that you have to figure out. You've got your own feelings, you've got the legal system, you've got, where you're going to live, all these worries, right? And as a mom or a dad, you got a lot going on. But your kids are going through it too. And I think sometimes we forget that our kids are going through it too. Or we don't know what to do to help them. And the younger the kid, the more they're going to need more of that physical love and attention from you. And the older the child, they're going to need more of the conversation. So I have 3 tips for you today that'll get you started. The first one, doesn't matter how old they are, tell them the truth. If you're getting a divorce, tell them you're getting a divorce. It's not, well, we're just going to go try it out at grandma's for a couple of years. No, you don't, you don't want to lie to your children. Your children are not stupid. Now you don't need to share the nitty-gritty details with them, right? You don't need to share all the dirty laundry that went on between you and your spouse. But you do need to tell them the truth that the marriage is ending and that things are going to be changing. Because it'll help the kids process. And they'll know that you're not going to lie to them, which is very important through this whole process. The second tip that I would give is let your kids ask you questions. Maybe it's like once a week around the dinner table or every night around the dinner table. It's like, okay, open forum. Who has questions about what's going on? Let them ask the questions because just like you, they're trying to understand the process. They may be, their biggest question might be, where am I going to be sleeping? Okay, well, you might have an answer or you may not, but be honest. Again, go back to number 1, tell them the truth. Help your kids to process in a way that doesn't they don't get sideswiped with things that they weren't expecting. So keep them in the loop, let them ask the questions, answer them to the best of your ability. And again, you don't need to share the nitty gritty, just enough to satisfy their curiosity. And the older they are, the more they're going to be able to process, and they're probably going to ask more questions, right? So answer the way, relative to the age of the child. And the third thing that I'm going to suggest as a tip, and this is my most important tip that I will ever give you, is really give your children the space to express their emotions. And when you do that, you need to listen to them and validate their emotions. You cannot do it with judgment. These are their emotions. So they get to feel whatever they feel about it, just like you get to feel whatever you get to feel about it. Their experience is different from yours, even though you're going through the same thing. And maybe they're going to be really, really angry, or maybe they're going to be really sad, or they're going to hate you for a while, or they're going to have these emotions, but you need to provide them with a safe container for them to share those with you, because then they know that their feelings are valid and they're allowed to have them. So when they see you getting angry or crying, they're going to know, okay, mom's having feelings too, just like I have feelings. But validating their feelings allows them to express it, so they don't bury them and they come out 10 years later in like misbehavior and depression and anxiety. That is probably the best way that you can support your kids, is allowing them their emotional freedom throughout this process as well, because nothing that they feel is wrong, just like nothing you feel is wrong. So those would be my 3 tips. Tell them the truth, let them ask questions, and then listen and validate their feelings.
These are gold, because that is a tricky, how do you navigate it? You're struggling, like you said, to navigate this yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then your kids are spiraling maybe in some ways. So I like the age appropriate truth.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth, can you please address, like, some of the truth is ugly,
Mm-hmm.
and you can share it age appropriately, but trying to share it as neutrally as possible. Would you
Mm-hmm.
say that that's important? Like not bashing the other parent, but
Yes,
it being
definitely.
truthful.
Yeah, being truthful, but don't throw your ex-spouse or soon to be ex-spouse under the bus, because then you're just going to make your kids start to choose sides, right? So it could be something as neutral as, we're not happy together anymore, or we're not making each other happy anymore. And we are going to be happier and we're going to be better parents if we're living apart. Happiness is a big factor in any marriage. And if that happiness is usually out the window by the time you're hitting divorce. So happy can be a pretty neutral thing. And happy and sad is something your kids can understand at any age. When you tell your 4-year-old you're not happy, and you tell your 16-year-old you're not happy, they both understand what that means. And it is fairly neutral. And they can say, well, why aren't you happy? And they'll be like, well, maybe we grew apart. Maybe we just don't want the same things anymore. And they can push you. They may say, well, what do you mean I don't need the same things? It doesn't matter what we don't need. It just means that we're not happy and we don't want the same things anymore. And I want to be a really good parent to you. And your dad or your mom wants to be a really good parent to you too. And so we're going to work that out together. But we'll be happier when we're not together. And I think that's a really hard position to take too, especially if there's a lot of anger and resentment happening on one side or the other. But it's about your kids, it's not you. In that particular moment, when you're talking to your kids, it's about them, not you. And giving them the answer that is going to allow them to process without having to pick sides is really important.
Thank you so much, Margaret, for giving us some verbiage, giving us some phrases that we can use as at least a start or a go-to to address this. Do you have any way of defining, validating their feelings? How do we actually do that?
Yeah, well, when the kids say to you, like, I'm really angry, you can say, okay, thank you for sharing. You are allowed to feel angry. You are allowed to feel whatever you feel, and I hear you. How can I help you? What do you want to do with that anger? Right? Even like for some of the little kids, they'll start acting out, but maybe it's like, do you want to go outside and, like, I don't know, throw a baseball around? Do you want to go outside and stamp on the ground because that's going to help you with your anger? What do you want to do with that? Validating their feelings is not by saying, oh no, you're not angry. You have to validate and say, I hear you. I totally get why you're angry. Just allow them to do that. I apologize, my dog is barking.
That's okay. That's okay. And you had a bonus tip that you were going to mention as
Yes.
well.
The bonus tip is, please do not use your children as your emotional support. You have friends and family, neighbors, therapists, counselors, anyone outside of your children. Your children are not your emotional support. You are theirs.
I
And
like that you
need to be
mentioned
that parent.
Sorry. I like that you mentioned that it's good for them to witness if they do happen to. It's okay. You aren't a failure if they do witness you crying or being angry. But like you say, it's not for them to fix that or be the therapist or.
Right. And in those moments, if they walk into you and you happen to be sitting in the bathroom crying and they walk in and go, "Mommy, what's wrong?" You can easily say, "You know what, Mommy's a little bit sad right now, but I'm okay." And by you verifying to them that I'm okay, it means that they know it's okay for them to cry and they're going to be okay too. Right? You may be falling apart inside, but your kids do not need to know that. So, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Margaret. We will have
Oh,
your information in the show notes so people can just click and get to your website. And is that the best place for them to connect with you?
it is the best place. You can get access to me in all my social media. You can book a call. You can read my resources. You can read about me. Like everything's on my website. That would be the best place for people to go.
Fantastic. We will have you back again because we really do want to make sure that people know they aren't alone, and there is information out there. So thank you for being here today, Margaret.
Thank you so much.
I hope you found that conversation insightful, encouraging, and also a reminder to all of us that what we see isn't always as it appears. People are going through a lot of things in their lives, and we would want that compassion shared to us, and that is something that we can offer to others without judgment. Instead, be curious and reach out, reach in, figure out a way that you can make someone's day a little better, and it might just start with a smile. I thank you very much for spending your time with me here today, and I encourage you to please subscribe to the podcast, follow us on social media, check out our events. We have lots of ways that we can help you or someone that you love. Share this with a friend if there's someone that you know could benefit from this. And hey, keep smiling that beautiful smile, because the world really does need your sunshine. It means a lot that you spend this time with us and meet our experts and professionals who can help you through whatever life changes you're facing. Please refer to our terms of service available on our website, lifechangesmag.com. The link is in the show notes. Our disclaimer: Divorce Magazine Canada, Life Changes Magazine and channel, and divorce resource groups are intended to educate and provide quality, credible resource information. The contents should not be used as factual until consultation with the appropriate professionals for any guidance. Divorce Magazine Canada, Life Changes Magazine, and Life Changes channel, as well as the divorce resource groups, do not constitute endorsements for, nor liability for any claims made in the presenting of this information.